Namaste. In this ever-changing world, understanding oneself as well as understanding what's happening across us is very important. It's a question of survival. And in the modern world where communication is happening within seconds, transportation within days, we have to always keep ourselves in the right direction, lest we might not be able to catch up with things. If this is true for individuals, imagine what is the state for nations. More than 200 countries today try to survive in this global world. How is this possible? How do they cooperate? How do they interact? All of these are interesting questions for curious minds. Not just for individuals who are involved in bureaucracy or let's say politicians or let's say political scientists. These are questions which are going to become interesting topics, right? Now, in that regard, there is an interesting book which has come up recently, in the past 6 months, which throws light upon many of these aspects. This is one of a kind book considering the focus of the book is India's foreign policy. The author of the book is specially suited to write this kind of book. Jaishankar has served the Indian diplomacy, foreign diplomacy, for a long period of time. To be precise, 44 years. And in his 44 years, he has served in multiple roles, serving in countries far from United States to China. And important developments that have occurred during his regime have benefited our country to a very great extent. The importance of the subject, the capacity of the person, all of this provides a very good reason for you to pick this book up. Now, how is the book? The book is a wonderful construct in itself. Though this is a collection of speeches made by Jaishankar previously, it nowhere runs like a speech. The flow of the book is enhanced by the structuring which the book has received. The book, written post the developments which have happened of March 2020, also speaks in some elements with respect to how to look forward, what is our way forward in Indian diplomacy with respect to other nations. Let me highlight 3 important factors as to why you should definitely give a reading of this book. The first one, structurally the book is very sound. It's not theoretical, but at the same time, Jaishankar does not give too many anecdotes regarding his times. Precise points are provided in each of the chapters, highlighting what are the issues which will be faced in the future times, what are the issues we faced in the past, and how do we balance each of these issues. The second part, the book is not just a reiteration of the facts which are already available in domain. The book is, however, a critical approach in understanding foreign policy. Now, foreign policy itself is a deep subject, which for common people very hard to understand. However, the lucidness of the book is in providing detailed information in a manner which is not biased, at the same time which ensures that we start thinking about each of these topics. That's the speciality of the book. And third, the book definitely provides you some new information. All of these reasons makes it a strong pick. How is the book structured? Primarily, it's divided into 2 parts. The first part speaks in detail regarding India's foreign policy until now. The second part speaks about India's relationship with many of the nations and how this relationship is probably going to change in future. What are the things which we need to do in order to ensure we are on the right track? The first part, he identifies 3 problems. Post-partition, the demons of partition had affected India. Territorially we were affected. At the same time, at the international level too, we were haunted by the problems of partition. The second problem, the nuclear policy problem. The third problem, The economic liberalization, which had to happen 20 years before, comes at 1991. All of these three problems are precisely the reason which nudges S. Jaishankar to write this book. But let me warn you, there is no blame game. There is no political accusations in the book. The book is precisely oriented towards making common people like me and you understand that why and how, if we as citizens are aware of each of these elements, we can try to ensure that the nation works in the right direction. After identifying each of these problems, then the book starts in a narrative manner as to how our country has engaged with superpowers in the world. Currently, United States and China are superpowers. Now, if India is to become a superpower, right, that's the area of discussion today. Will India become superpower in 2030? Will we become a 10 trillion economy? Now, as Jaishankar says, if we are bound to achieve that dream, then we cannot adopt the modes adopted by nations which have previously been called as superpowers. But, he says, we have to adopt our own non-alignment policy. Now, that's an interesting thing. Some would disagree with that. But the interesting part is, he says that if you look at 1962, when China was against us, we took the help of United States. Post that, in 1971, when China, United States and Pakistan came together, Russia came to our assistance. Now, all of these things definitely highlight the benefits of being non-aligned. But at the same time, as Jaishankar clearly provides, that non-alignment just does not mean in modern time that you don't align with anyone. He says, depending upon situations, you have to forge your alliances. That's a very interesting stance, in fact, considering that permanence has disappeared. Nations today change their policies depending upon what suits them. United States has left Afghanistan. Now Russia has started its own dealings in Eastern Europe. All of these is to benefit those individual nations. If India is to stand out as a superpower tomorrow, it has to balance United States as well as China. It cannot take on one side. This is a very interesting approach with which he starts the second division. Then, in detail, he provides the way in which our country has to engage with multiple nations. Let it be Japan, let it be Middle Eastern nations. The moment you start to morph yourself into an industrialized economy, you realize that how you have to be a major player in the global system. There are some interesting takes to it. In order to become a superpower, there are some essential elements which you have to do. First, you have to transform yourself into an industrialized economy. Technological investment should occur. Development should happen within the country. All of this in a globalized economy is possible when we bring in our inputs. Now, what are those inputs? As Jaishankar is pretty clear that we cannot live without our legacy. And our legacy has always been right principles and right practices. Interestingly, the book uses Mahabharata characters in order to drive through its points. This adds to the beauty of the book. At the same time, nowhere does the book lag. Being a 220 pages book, it ensures that the points are made in the beginning, the reasons are provided in the middle, and conclusions are drawn in the end. At the same time, the vastness of knowledge is available through precise words. Like the author says, our country should engage America, should reassure Russia, cultivate Europe, and challenge China to a great extent. Now, all of this is supremely important in the context of the times which we have lived. And if you are interested in what is happening in the global world, if you are interested to know as to how things are impacting our country, may you be a student, may you be a businessman, may you be a professional, this book serves a wonderful introduction to the dealings of foreign policy and international affairs. This is the reason why you should pick this book up and enjoy your weekends over that. Thank you.